Learn all tenses in 30 minutes. Present simple tense review. What is simple present tense? The tense simply show the time of an action. Simple present tense indicates an action which happens in the present, but it isn't necessary for actions to happen right now. Simple present tense indicates unchanging situations, general truths, scientific facts, habits, fixed arrangements, and frequently occurring events. The structures of simple present tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Attention. In simple present tense, we add the suffix s at the end of the verbs for the third singular subject. On the other hand, we use first forms of the verbs for other subjects, I, you, we, you, they. Although we add the suffix s at the end of the verb for the third singular subjects in positive sentences, we remove the suffix s at the end of the verb in questions and negative sentences because of being used does or doesn't as an auxiliary verb. Positive form example sentences. My mother lets me go out with my friends. I prefer my coffee black. She puts the keys on the table. The teacher shouts at us all the time. I have 2 brothers. Coffee grows in Brazil. Negative form example sentences. My mother does not let me go out with my friends. I do not prefer my coffee black. She does not put the keys on the table. The teacher does not shout at us all the time. I do not have 2 brothers. Coffee does not grow in Brazil. Question form example sentences. Does your mother let you go out with your friends? Do you prefer your coffee black? Does she put the keys on the table? Does the teacher shout at us all the time? Do I have 2 brothers? Does coffee grow in Brazil? Past simple tense review. What is simple past tense? The tenses simply show the time of an action. Simple past tense indicates an action which is completed at a definite time in the past. Simple past tense is used with finished time words, yesterday, last week, in 2000, etc. Closing. The structures of simple past tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Short answer form. Attention. Any auxiliary verbs aren't used in positive sentences and the second form of the verb is used. did or did not. It is used as the auxiliary verb in negative and question sentences and the verb remains simple. Positive form example sentences. We watched the news last night. They went to the party yesterday. She read the book. He drew beautiful pictures last week. I learned Spanish last summer. You gave the present to your friend. We bought a new car. Negative form example sentences. We did not watch the news last night. They did not go to the party yesterday. She did not read the book. He did not draw beautiful pictures last week. I did not learn Spanish last summer. You did not give the present to your friend. We did not buy a new car. Question form example sentences. Did we watch the news last night? Did they go to the party yesterday? Did she read the book? Did he draw beautiful pictures last week? Did I learn Spanish last summer? Did you give the present to your friend? Did we buy a new car? Notes. We also use a question word, who, what, why, etc. in past tense. Question words, who, what, why, etc. plus did plus subject pronoun, he, she, it, I, you, we, they plus V1. Example sentences. Where did you stay last night? When did she go to the school? Why did she cry? Future simple tense review in English. What is simple future tense? The tenses simply show the time of an action. Simple future tense is used to construct sentences about future time, time after now. The structures of simple future tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Short answer form. Question forms. Positive form example sentences. She will be a doctor soon. You will marry me. The president will allow this. That party will be interesting. My mother will retire next year. He will play basketball. I will meet with him. I will call him as soon as possible. We will overcome the problems. We will leave the house. Negative form example sentences. She will not be a doctor soon. You will not marry me. The president will not allow this. That party will not be interesting. My mother will not retire next year. He will not play basketball. I will not meet with him. I will not call him as soon as possible. Question form example sentences. Will she be a doctor soon? Will you marry me? Will the president allow this? Will that party be interesting? Will your mother retire next year? Will you meet with him? Will you send him a message? Will she overcome the problems? Present continuous tense review in English. What is present continuous tense? The tense simply show the time of an action. Present continuous tense indicate an action which is in progress at the time of speaking, or at the present time. The structures of present continuous tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Short answer form. Positive form example sentences. She is listening to music now. We are learning English at this moment. My mother is cooking dinner in the kitchen now. The gardener is working in the garden at this time. At present, children are doing a lot of things that cannot be done before. She is having breakfast at the moment. Look, a car is coming. Negative form example sentences. She is not listening to music now. We are not learning English at this moment. My mother is not cooking dinner in the kitchen now. The gardener is not working in the garden at this time. Children are not happily playing. I am not having breakfast at the moment. That car is not coming here. Question form example sentences. Is she listening to music now? Are they learning English at this moment? Is your mother cooking dinner in the kitchen now? Is the gardener working in the garden at this time? Are children happily playing? Am I having breakfast at the moment? Is that car coming here? Past continuous tense review in English. What is past continuous tense? The tense simply show the time of an action. Past continuous tense indicates an action which started and continued in a certain. The point to be taken into consideration is that the action started in the past. The continuity of the action was also into the past, so it does not. The structures of past continuous tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Short answer form. Positive form example sentences. You were watching television last night. They were studying math yesterday. I was washing the dishes when the phone rang. As she was reading the book, Alice came. The students were drawing beautiful pictures when the teacher entered the classroom. It was raining yesterday evening. I was learning German last year. I was crying while he was laughing. He was working when I called him. Negative form example sentences. You were not watching television last night. They were not studying math yesterday. I was not washing the dishes when the phone rang. As she was not reading the book, Alice came. The students were not drawing beautiful pictures when the teacher entered the classroom. It was not raining yesterday evening. I was not learning German last year. She was not crying while he was laughing. He was not working when I called him. Question form example sentences. Were you watching television last night? Were they studying math yesterday? Was I washing the dishes when the phone rang? Was she reading the book when they came? Were the students drawing beautiful pictures when the teacher entered the classroom? Was it raining yesterday evening? Was he learning German last year? Were you crying while he was laughing? Was he working when I called him? Future continuous tense review in English. What is future continuous tense? The tense simply show the time of an action. Future continuous tense indicate an action which will be at some definite time. The structures of future continuous tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Positive form example sentences. When you arrive, I will be sitting in the park. I will be loving you. I will be waiting for you. It will be raining at this time tomorrow. He will be visiting his friends this time next week. She will be watching TV. This time tomorrow, we will be working on our project. They will be writing letter to each other. Negative form example sentences. When you arrive, I will not be sitting in the park. I will not be loving you. I will not be waiting for you. It will not be raining at this time tomorrow. He will not be visiting his friends this time next week. She will not be watching TV. This time tomorrow, we will not be working on our project. They will not be writing letter to each other. Question form example sentences. Will you be sitting in the park when I arrive? Will you be loving me? Will you be waiting for me? Will it be raining at this time tomorrow? Will he be visiting his friends this time next week? Will she be watching TV? This time tomorrow, will we be working on our project? Will they be writing letter to each other? Present perfect tense review. What is present perfect tense? The tenses simply show the time of an action. Present perfect tense is used to express an event that started in the past, and the impact of the event is now continuing, or a long-running event that started in the past and is still going on. This tense is used to express actions completed recent past. In this tense, it is important whether the event occurred or not, or the result of the event is important, not the time of the event. The structures of present perfect tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Short answer form. Positive form example sentences. I have already prepared breakfast. My sister has cleaned the room. It has rained a lot lately. I have seen her before. She has watched this movie several times. He has saved $20.000 up until now. They have gone fishing until later this evening. I have solved 20 questions so far. My mother has cooked the dinner. We have received many mails since we were retired. I have already made the coffee. You have already eaten 4 plums. I have lived in Texas for 10 years. Negative form example sentences. I have not prepared breakfast yet. My sister has not cleaned the room. It has not rained a lot. I have not seen her before. She has not watched this movie several times. He has not saved any money until now. They have not gone fishing this weekend. I have not solved 20 questions so far. My mother has not the dinner yet. We have not received any mail since we were retired. I have not made the coffee yet. You have not eaten a lot. I have not lived in London. Question form example sentences. Have you prepared breakfast? Has she cleaned the room? Has it rained a lot? Have you ever seen her before? Has she watched this movie several times? Has he saved any money until now? Have they gone fishing this weekend? Have you solved 20 questions so far? Has your mother cooked the dinner? Have we received any mail since we were retired? Have you made the coffee? Have you eaten these plums? Have you ever been in London? Past perfect tense review in English. What is past perfect tense? The tenses simply show the time of an action. Past perfect tense indicates a past action which is completed before another past action. The structures of past perfect tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Short answer form. Positive form example sentences. I went there after I had completed the task. She had come late to the school. My father and mother had been married for 2 years when I was born. Until he went to England, he had never spoken English. If you had studied hard last year, he would have passed all his exams. She had done her homework, so she was happy. He had left when I went to the club. They had gone out when you called. The woman had cried till the morning. I had returned to university. He had lived in Florida for 10 years before he moved to California. By the time we came, she had finished the project. I had not completed the task. She had not come late to the school. They had not been married when I was born. Until he went to England, he had not spoken English. You had not studied hard. She had not done her homework, so she was sad. He had not left when I went to the club. They had not gone out when you called. The woman had not cried till the morning. I had not returned to university. He had not lived in Florida. By the time we came, she had not finished the project. Question form example sentences. Had you completed the task? Had she come late to the school? Had they been married when I was born? Had he spoken English until he went to England? Had she done her homework? Had he lived in Florida? Had they gone out when you called? Had the woman cried till the morning? Had you returned to university? Had he left when I went to the club? Had she finished the project by the time we came? Future perfect tense review in English. What is future perfect tense? The tenses simply show the time of an action. Future perfect tense is used to express an action expected to be completed before a certain time in the future. The structures of future perfect tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Positive form example sentences. By next week, we'll have earned lots of money. I will have prepared breakfast by the time the children wake up. The rain'll have stopped by tomorrow. They won't have been married by next year. By that time I will have finished my homework. They will have relaxed by night. When my father comes home, my mother will have read me a story. Susan will have been ready by the time I get home. The plane will have landed by that time. Negative form example sentences. He will not have received enough score by the summer. They will not have been married by next year. The rain will not have stopped by tomorrow. My mother will not have prepared breakfast by the time my father and brother wake up. She will not have been in London for 6 months by the time she leave. By next July, we will not have received our first promotion. He will not have perfected his English by the time I come back from the US. Question form example sentences. Will you have graduated from the university before I graduate? Will he have learned all information about this job by May? Will she have graduated from high school by July? Will he have finished his work by 5 o'clock? Will they have sent an email until tomorrow? Will people's lives have changed by 10 years? Will we have arrived in China by the next week? Will the concert have started by 20 minutes? Present perfect continuous tense review in English. What is present perfect continuous tense? The tense simply shows the time of an action. Present perfect continuous tense indicates that something started in the past at the present and is continuing at the structures of present perfect continuous tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Positive form example sentences. My father have been repairing the car. That's why his hands are greasy. Susan is in the kitchen. She has been making pizza. They have been playing in the room. The mechanic has been repairing our refrigerator. You've been smoking. He has been walking. She has been singing a song. The athlete has been running for a trophy. I have been traveling to this country for 4 days. We have been learning English since last winter. The child has been watching TV all afternoon. Negative form example sentences. My father have not been repairing the car. That's why his hands are greasy. Susan is in the kitchen. She has not been making pizza. They have not been playing in the room. The mechanic has not been repairing our refrigerator. You have not been smoking. He has not been walking. The child has not been wearing a hat. I have not been working since morning. Question form example sentences. Have you been studying English? Has it been raining for 3 hours? Has she been teaching French since 2000? Has the baby been crying since he got up? Have you been hearing me? Your eyes are wet. Have you been cutting onions? Has they been playing since morning? You look very tired. Have you been working for a long time? Past perfect continuous tense review in English. What is past perfect continuous tense? The tense simply show the time of an action. Past perfect continuous tense indicates a past action and continued to happen after another action and continued to happen after another action. Past perfect continuous tense tell us how long the duration of the action is emphasized. The duration of the action is emphasized. The structures of past perfect continuous tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Positive form example sentences. When her husband came home, the woman had been cleaning the house for hours. The ground was covered with snow. It had been snowing heavy for several hours. They had been being friends since childhood. Thomas had been trying to repair the phone the whole day. We had been studying all day, so we tired. Helen had been listening the same music for 4 hours when I came back home. Daniel had been watching TV for hours before he slept. You had been walking all afternoon on the beach. Negative form example sentences. I had not been cooking any meal when she came to my home. My daughter had not been eating anything all day. She had not been working all day, so she was energetic. He had not been reading a book. I had not been waiting for Sarah for 40 minutes before she called me. You had not been studying English all day. The actor had not been working since morning. The teacher had not been showing us a video when the bell rang. Question form example sentences. Had they been running for several minutes when the teacher came? Had you been studying English all day? Had we been waiting for Sarah for 40 minutes before she called us? Had her daughter been eating anything all day? Had she been working all day? Had he been reading a book? Had he been cooking any meal when she came to my home? Had you been studying English since 3 o'clock? Had the actor been working since morning? Had the teacher been showing them a video when the bell rang? Future perfect continuous tense review in English. What is future perfect continuous tense? The tense simply show the time of an action. Future perfect continuous tense indicates an action that will continue up until a point in the future. The structures of future perfect continuous tense. Positive forms. Negative forms. Question forms. Positive form example sentences. I will have been working for 7 hours by the time the boss comes. She will have been sleeping for 1 hour when he gets home. At 4 o'clock, we will have been waiting you for 1 hour. She will have been sleeping at home for 2 hours when we arrives. He will have been playing the guitar for 10 years when he turned 20. They will have been teaching German for 5 years by the end of this year. I will have been traveling to Japan by this time next week. When I am at school, my family will have been flying to New York. Negative form example sentences. I will not have been shopping on Tuesday. He will not have been playing football tomorrow evening. They will not have been going for a picnic. We will not have been living there for 2 years by the end of this year. I will not have been staying in London next summer. She will not have been studying Japanese next year. The president will not have been talking tomorrow. I will not have been searching for a new issue on internet tomorrow afternoon. Question form example sentences. Will you have been studying English? Will it have been raining for 3 hours? Will she have been teaching French for 10 years next year? Will the baby have been playing with toys for 1 hour? Will you have been speaking English for 2 years by the end of this year? Will you have been making a cake in the kitchen? Will they have been playing tennis since morning? Will you have been working for a long time?